Hello, and I am back here on the channel. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money-taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying YouTuber in YouTube entertainment today, Lee Cole the Fourth. And I am here to talk to you guys about my review that I am doing here for a new picture that just came out, and it is a great picture. It is called Rocketman. It is the story about Elton John, or Sir Elton John. This is a really great movie because I thought going into it, it was going to be heavy SJW nonsense as far as pushing the agenda of the gay aspect of Elton John's lifestyle, and that things were going to be forced and narratives were going to be made. But this was really a biopic in every sense of the word. This movie was really an in-depth look at not only the man, the music, but the things that inspired him and how he saw the world and how he sees the world when he does his music. And it is brilliant. I love Bohemian Rhapsody, but I think this one by miles is what Bohemian Rhapsody tried to be, but it didn't dabble in the things that it really needed to, because Elton John being gay is part of his story. It's part of his journey. It's not in any way forced because it's who the man is, and I think that comes through in the way it's portrayed by Thornton Edgerton in this film. So I'm going to start with a short, brief overview. I'm going to go in my pros, my cons, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts and rate this, and then tell you what I think, or whether or not it's worth seeing. So, Rocketman is the film about Elton John's life and how he essentially became famous, the inspirations for his music, and really about his family and things that you would have never known had this movie not been made. And you have to remember that he's been doing this since the 70s, so you literally travel the time periods when things were changing and when things that weren't socially acceptable became more acceptable. And he went through that journey. And, it's really great to see. So let me start off with the overview is just basically Elton John's life. It's his life story. It's his journey, and then it's what he went through to essentially get hooked on drugs, pills, things like that, and how he got off them, and the journey in between, and then the music that came from each experience he had. Quite literally, every song he wrote was about something in his life that inspired him, and it's great because you see the artist's minds, and sometimes it have weird visuals that are from his perspective and how he sees the music. And I think that's what I would have liked in Bohemian Rhapsody, if you saw exactly what the artist was seeing. And in this, you see Elton John in weird, trippy kind of ways as he comes up with these masterpieces that he would make later on in his life. Some of the music he had years before he actually put it down. He had the notes and the theories in his head. And it's quite brilliant. So for my pros, visually, it is stunning. It blends some aspects of musical, regular storytelling without getting too into the musical breaking down and singing every time. But there were parts where he did sing and you saw like a chorus, but it was more of what he was seeing for the song. It was a very fascinating way to shoot the movie. The aspects dealing with his homosexuality, I think, were very tastefully done. It wasn't in your face, and it showed the conflict that he had with who people expected him to be and who he was. And until he reconciled those two parts of himself, it left like you could feel the disconnect between the persona and the man, and it was brilliant storytelling. So I mean, across the boards, the lighting, the sounds, the music choices, and they go through the hits and even some stuff that was earlier in his career that you might not have heard. That was just great, and the influences that he got them from. Brilliant. My cons. Uh, I felt like some of the scenes were a little bit more than I wanted to see. I'm not talking Brokeback Mountain where it was like bow, but there was one scene in particular that was kind of like whoa. Had to go get some popcorn and drink. But it was not too graphic detail. They glaze over the scene, but to be fair, it is about Elton John, and Elton John is openly gay. So I could accept where they put these things in because it's the man's life. It's what he went through, and how they framed it showed the struggle of what it was like from the 70s until now, and it was quite illuminating to see some of these things, even from his family. I mean, the stuff with his family was great, and seeing like what it was like this ego he had, and the way that the ego played into the music and how he kind of lost himself in the persona. It was just brilliant, and I don't want to give too much away. My cons, I would have liked to know a few more songs. There were some songs that I liked that they left out that I wish they put in. Um, but other than that, not very many. I mean, the dialogue was funny. I was laughing, and not laughing at the movie, but laughing with the movie when the humor hit. It hit appropriately. And, there were even some moments where you go, wow, like, this man has been through a lot. I mean, this man literally drank, snorted, did every drug known to man. And he says this in the movie, and he lived. And it's amazing to see the journey that an artist takes, and not only what they take as the journey, but kind of their journey to come out on the other side. Some artists don't, but he was lucky he did. And it gives me a new perspective on the man, and a new kind of found respect. Like, I don't agree with his politics, but I respect the journey in his life he took to get what he has. And you can't say it wasn't earned after seeing this movie and all of the personal hardships that he had, and the clarifications he made about the songs he made and things like that. It's just a great journey. So I really enjoyed it. My overall arching thoughts are that I give this movie an 8.5, almost a 9. There were a few things I felt that maybe were rushed through, a few points that they time skipped, but it's a 2-hour movie, and they did a lot with the time. Thornton Edgerton's acting was spot on. He looked like Elton John. I want to say that he sang or got singing lessons for the role. He went and met Elton himself, and they worked together. So he feels very much like Elton John when he doesn't feel like he's playing the role. Like with Bohemian Rhapsody, it felt like he put stuff on and kind of looked like Freddie Mercury, but Thornton Edgerton felt like he was Elton John. Like he was the embodiment in that moment of who Elton John was. And all the other roles he's done didn't matter. He felt like Elton John. So big credit to the movie. I give it an 8.5, and I'd say definitely watch it. There's not much out right now, and it's a pretty good film. My theater was full of people, so I think that this is very good biopic, and one of the best I've seen in years. So, as always, this has been one of my reviews. If you like this review, please hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, if you're not new to the channel, smash that melee. Let me know you like this. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And as always, me and my beautiful future wife, Forrest Tico, will see you at the movies. Thank you very much. Have a good night.